Welcome back to our Unity tutorial series. I hope you've been practicing with the Debug.Log challenges from our previous video. Don't forget to check the answers in the previous video description if you need help. In today's video, we're going to dive much deeper into log statements and explore different ways of writing comments. We'll also discover when and why to use each type. Before we jump in, let me explain why logging and comments are absolutely crucial in Unity development. Think of Debug.Log as your detective tool. It helps you understand exactly what's happening in your game at any moment. When your game isn't working as expected, these log messages become your best friends, showing you the path your code is taking. Comments, on the other hand, are like leaving notes for yourself and other developers. They explain why you wrote certain code, not just what the code does. As your projects grow larger and more complex, you'll thank yourself for writing clear comments. These two tools are the backbone of professional game development, and mastering them early will save you countless hours of debugging frustration later. So let's explore them together. Now let's create a new script to dive deeper into logging. As usual, right-click on the empty space of the project window, hover over Create. Then you can either select Mono Behavior Script directly, or go to Scripting and choose Mono Behavior Script. Let me show you what happens if you don't rename your script immediately after creating it. If you forget to rename it or click elsewhere, the script will keep its default name, New Mono Behavior Script. While this default name doesn't create serious technical problems, it creates a serious organizational problem. You should always name your scripts according to what they do. This makes your project much easier to navigate and understand. Here are the important rules for naming scripts. Don't include spaces in the name, start with a capital letter, use descriptive names that explain the script's purpose, and avoid special characters or numbers at the beginning. Suppose you created a script with the default name and later renamed it to Script Practice. After opening the file, you'll notice that the class name inside the script hasn't changed. It's still New Mono Behavior Script. Now you need to manually change the class name to match your file name. When you create a mono behavior script in Unity, it's created with a .cs extension, which means C#. This tells us we're using the C# programming language, and you can also notice the hash symbol in the file icon. Don't forget to attach your script to the related game object in the hierarchy. I know this might seem repetitive, but remember, this course is built with absolute beginners in mind. In upcoming videos, we'll move faster through these steps that we've explained thoroughly in previous videos. Now in the inspector, you can see we have two scripts attached to a single game object, and that's perfectly fine. We can add as many scripts as required by our game object. This gives us great flexibility in organizing our code. Let's write a simple log statement in our new script. In the start method, write Debug.Log, opening parentheses, inside double quotes, write hello from script practice, close the double quotes, close the parentheses, and add the semicolon. Always remember to save your code in Visual Studio. Many beginners and even experienced developers forget to save and then wonder why their changes aren't working. Now in Unity, hit the play button. In the console, you can see we now have 3 messages, 2 from our previous game script and the first one from our script practice script. You can confirm which script sent each message by looking at the file name in the message details. We can enable or disable any components attached to our game object, which gives us more control during debugging. Select the Game Manager game object and uncheck the checkbox next to the game script component. Now our game script component is disabled and won't execute. Here's an interesting fact I want to point out. I forgot to stop the game before making this change. When you stop the game after changing values in the inspector while playing, Unity will restore the original values. So make sure you make changes while you're not in play mode. Changing values during play mode is actually super helpful for testing. We'll discuss this in upcoming videos when needed. For now, let's uncheck the game script component again and hit play. You can see we're now getting only one message, which comes from our script practice script. The messages from the game script are ignored because that component is disabled. Let's practice more with logging. First, I'll change this log statement message to "This is a normal information message." Now I'll duplicate this line using a handy Visual Studio shortcut. Hold Ctrl and press E, then V. This copies the current line. Let's rewrite this second message to something else, like remember to save your project frequently. When you run the game, you can see two messages appear, both with the information icon with an exclamation mark. We can change this icon to something more meaningful. Since this second message is more like a warning, we can write Debug.Log warning instead of log. Now when you play in Unity, this changes the icon to a warning symbol with yellow color and triangular shape. Very powerful for categorizing your messages. Let's duplicate this warning message by pressing Ctrl E and V again. Change the message to something like, no keyboard found to run the game. Since this message represents an error, we'll write Debug.LogError instead. In the console window, you can now see the red icon for the error message. This color coding system helps you quickly identify different types of messages during development. Now let's explore another powerful logging method, Debug.LogFormat. This is used when you want to create dynamic messages with changing values. Since we haven't learned about variables or data types yet, I'll keep this simple, but this feature becomes extremely useful later in your development journey. Suppose I'm writing Debug.LogFormat, opening parentheses, inside double quotes, write hello, player number 1, your health is 25%. Close quotes, close parentheses, semicolon. You can see that player number 1 and 25% are hard-coded values. But what if these need to change? Log format allows us to make these dynamic using placeholders. Instead of the hard-coded 1, let's write 0. This creates our first placeholder, inside curly brackets, starting from 0. After your message ends, right after the closing double quotes, write a comma and the value that should appear in the first placeholder. For example, comma, then 1. Similarly, for the 25, we'll create a second placeholder with 1, then add another comma and the value 25. So it looks like Debug.LogFormat, opening parentheses, hello, player number 0, your health is 1%, comma 1, comma 25, closing parentheses, semicolon. You can add as many placeholders as needed. Let's test this in Unity. When you run your game, you can see the values appear in their correct positions. Very powerful. Now we'll introduce ways to visually enhance our messages in Unity's console using rich text markup. This makes important information stand out. Let's say you want to change the color of the health value. You'll write the markup starting with an angular bracket, less than sign, color equals red, greater than sign. Then after the 1 placeholder, write the closing markup, less than sign, / color, greater than sign. If the text is overflowing in Visual Studio, you can fix this by going to the Edit menu and enabling Word Wrap. When you save and play your game, you can see the 25 now appears in red color. You can change this to any supported color. There's a list of supported colors and rich text tags in Unity's documentation. I'll put the link in the description, and please don't skip that documentation. It's your best friend that will help you when you need answers. You can also increase text size by using the size tag, less than sign, size equals any size you want, then greater than sign, then your text, then less than sign, / size, greater than sign. Similarly, you can make text bold using the B tag. Let's check the output. Amazing. Look how beautifully the text is highlighted and how easy it is to spot the important parts of your message. Let me quickly add 2 more examples of rich text formatting to show you the possibilities. This video is getting quite comprehensive, so let's finish up by exploring different ways of commenting in your code. Comments are absolutely essential for explaining your code's purpose and making it maintainable. As you learned in our previous video, comments help you document your code, temporarily disable code sections, and communicate with other developers or your future self. The first type is single-line comments, created by writing 2 forward slashes at the beginning of any line. Everything after the slashes on that line becomes a comment and is ignored by the compiler. The second type is multi-line comments. Start with a forward slash followed immediately by an asterisk with no spaces between them. When you hit enter, Visual Studio automatically adds asterisks for each new line. You can write lengthy explanations here. End the comment block by writing an asterisk followed by a forward slash. This is perfect for explaining complex algorithms or providing detailed documentation about what a section of code does. The last type is summary comments, which are typically written at the function or class level. These provide documentation that appears in IntelliSense tooltips, making your code more professional and easier to understand. Start by writing 3 forward slashes, and Visual Studio automatically creates a summary comment block with proper XML formatting. For example, 3 forward slashes, then you can write your comment inside here. And that wraps up our deep dive into debug, log, and comments. Today we covered different types of logging: regular log, log warning, and log error. We explored log format for dynamic messages, learned how to use rich text formatting to make our messages visually appealing, and mastered 3 different commenting styles. These tools will become invaluable as you build more complex games. The ability to debug effectively and document your code clearly separates beginner developers from professionals. In our next video, we're going to explore variables, the containers that hold information in your games. We'll learn about different data types like integers, strings, and booleans. This is where programming really starts to get exciting. Thank you for following along with this detailed exploration. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps other beginners find these tutorials. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. And I'll see you in the next video where we dive into the fascinating world of variables. Keep practicing, keep learning, and remember, every expert was once a beginner, just like you. You're doing great.